Hey guys, welcome back to the CulePodcast. Welcome back to another video. On today's video, we're going to be looking ahead to Barcelona's match against Cadiz. And then as well, we're going to be talking about some interesting words from ex-Barcelona player Rakitic. And then towards the end of the video, we're going to be talking about Andres Christensen and some updates about his future. But guys, before I get started on the video, make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. Everything's posted down below in the description. Go over there and check me out. That way you guys can stay up to date with everything that I do on the channel. But guys, let's get straight into it. And let's first look at some of Xavi's pre-match press conference as the words that he says in regards to that game against Cadiz. Now, I know all of us were feeling like a high. We're super excited. We're feeling very, very good. Very, very good buzz from that huge win against PSG in the Parc des Princes. But we have to remember that we are, back in La Liga. We are going to be playing a match in the weekend against Cadiz. And, Xavi, in his press conference, he says some very interesting words, and I want to talk about this. And this is what he has to say in regards to the match against Cadiz. For us, it is a vital match. La Liga can end if we don't win. We have to come out very committed so as to not throw in the towel. If we fail, then the El Clasico will be of very little use. Key day. Continuing on, they have only lost one game at home in the last five. They have beaten Atletico at home lately. They are risking going down a category. They're risking relegation, and life is going their way. They are a very aggressive, orderly team, direct football, uncomfortable rival, and feel difficult. It will be difficult. Let's see how we will get there and the level of fatigue. They are three vital points if we want to compete in the league. And now, this is the interesting quote in what he says. Xavi on if there will be changes. It changes rotations. No, nothing will change. What worries me is the discomfort and fatigue, but we will make a team to win. We have to put the Champions League aside and focus on La Liga. It is important to win, to have options in La Liga, to have options to get within 5 points of Madrid if we win El Clasico. But if we don't achieve it, we would almost say goodbye to La Liga. And so those are some very interesting quotes from Xavi because it seems that, a lot of Barcelona fans, we say, hey, La Liga is basically done and dusted. We're 8 points behind Real Madrid. Real Madrid, they don't really have anyone tough to play except Barcelona, next weekend, in El Clasico. And so looking at Real Madrid's schedule, why not put all eggs towards that UCL basket? And Xavi is saying, hey, no, let's, if we win tomorrow and Real Madrid potentially drop points in the future and we win El Clasico, then we have like an outside chance to win La Liga. And so Xavi, he isn't throwing away La Liga by any means whatsoever. And this is where some discussion can be had because as I said, 8 points behind Real Madrid. Is it really viable to see Real Madrid dropping and losing 3 games? They could potentially lose against Barcelona, but they would have to lose 2 more games and potentially draw one more, and Barcelona have to be perfect in La Liga before we mount a comeback. And it's interesting because we saw in the game against Las Palmas where it was a perfect game to make rotations ahead of that PSG game. Xavi, he didn't opt to make any big changes. He still played Lewandowski, he still played Gundogan, and in a match where rotations were called, it doesn't seem that he actually wanted to make some rotations. And looking at some interesting quotes from Xavi, this is what he had to say in regards to Vitor Roque, especially in the movements. We have prepared a video for him tomorrow. He is a footballer who can give us many things. Tomorrow he will surely have minutes. We have to take advantage of how he uses space and try to make him understand the positional game. And so right there, it's some interesting insight into Xavi's thoughts on Vitor Roque. He says, hey, he's a player who can give us a lot of things. But the thing is, he still hasn't understand, the positional play and what it is to play for Barcelona. And that's very weird because I would say one of Vitor Roque's strong suits is his movement and his positional game. But maybe his movement isn't what Xavi wants. It isn't beneficial to the team. But Vitor Roque, guys, he has to start tomorrow. Something to keep in mind is that for the game against Cadiz, Lewandowski, Cancelo, and Inigo Martinez, they're all suspended for the match. And all, Cancelo and Lewandowski, two players who have played a lot of minutes of football, throughout the season, they are going to be rested and they are going to be fit, for that game against PSG. And talking about another interesting player, now Xavi talks about Miguel Fay. He says this in regards to his potential participation against Cadiz. Yes, he is ready. Fay, Casado, and more players who can participate. But I do see him ready to play with us. And so, guys, could we potentially see Miguel Fay called up to the first team and have his debut against Cadiz in La Liga? That's something that that's going to be interesting to see. But me personally, guys, in regards to what type of lineup Barcelona they should be lining up with, we know that two players are going to be instant starters, and it's both Sergio Roberto and Christensen, two players who are suspended for that match against PSG. And so, looking at that, this is going to be the rumored lineup. And I want to know your guys' thoughts on how Xavi should line up for this game, because we have a huge match against PSG, the second leg at home. A ton of these players, I would say the majority of them, gave everything that they had, and they were extremely fatigued. But at the same time, would you guys still insist on keeping that La Liga title race alive, or would you say, hey, let's put all of our eggs in the basket, and make 100% rotation? Let's rotate every single player, all the players who are going to be playing on Tuesday. Let's rest them. And so we obviously know that Ter Stegen is going to be playing. Hector Fort is going to be playing, as Cancelo is, suspended for the match. Marcos Alonso is a potential player who can come into the lineup. And that's a player who hasn't played in forever. And it seems that Pau Cubarsí, Christensen, obviously, and Kunde, they are set to start the match. And this is interesting, because I personally am I wouldn't play either of them. I wouldn't play Kunde and I wouldn't play Kubarsi, because I want all my players ready for the Champions League. I would say even if we rotated all 11 of our starters, I still think that we have a quality team to go out there and beat Cadiz, a team who, as you guys can see right now, they're battling relegation. They are in 18th in the league right now, just 3 points behind Celta de Vigo, who are 17th, and just 12 points ahead of Armedia, who is bottom. And so, and I would honestly rest Kunde. I'd play Hector Fort out on the right. I'd play Marcos Alonso, and then potentially, I would say, why not start Miguel Fay? Start Miguel Fay in that center back role and give Pau Cubarsí some rest. But it's most likely that either Kunde or Cubarsí are going to be rested. I don't think that both of them are going to be rested. And in the midfield, I think this is perfect. Give Sergio Roberto the start. He's not going to be playing on Tuesday. Give Ordomel a start as well as Fermin Lopez. I know Fermin Lopez, like, due to his recent performances, he might be feeling a little bit frustrated that he didn't get a start against PSG, but he is going to have a vital role in to play in the two legs. And up top, I think this is the perfect lineup. You start Joao Felix, you start Vitor Roque, and you start Ferran Torres. You start all of these players. You give rest to Lamine Yamal. You give rest to Rafinha. Lewandowski is suspended for that match. And so that's the perfect opportunity for Xavi to basically make some rotations. But guys, if you guys are Xavi, are you guys rotating the squad, or are you basically saying, hey, let's go out and with a strong lineup, let's get the 3 points, let's put Cadiz to bed, and then rotate? Because who knows, if Real Madrid drop points, this weekend, then El Clasico, 5 points, we win that, it drops down to 2, then no the La Liga title race is back on. Definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on that. But now, guys, I'm going to be talking about Ivan Rakitic, because he recently had an interview with J.R. Romeo in Gigantes TV, and he says some interesting quotes. And in that interview, and this is what he has to say in his thoughts on Xavi's decision to leave. It's his decision, but there is no person in general who can understand Barca more or better than Xavi. He caught the team at a very delicate moment, with many changes, with not an easy context. That does not help either the club or the coach. And Xavi has been able to move it forward. And this is, where, guys, you have to give Xavi tremendous praise. Xavi, when you first came into the club, we were basically following humiliation after humiliation in the Europa League, no, in the Champions League, and then we drop into the Europa League with Koeman. and it was just like a disaster. We recently had the Messi departure, and Xavi coming in, he basically stabilized the boat, and he allowed us to basically have some success. But what's interesting in Rakitic's interview with Gerard Romeo is in his words in regards to PSG. He first talked about our first leg against PSG, in 2024, and then he looks back to our tie against PSG in 2017, where that historic 6-1 comeback, La Remontada, happened. And but first, let's talk about his quotes about the present day tie. It was a blow from Barca. We were all left with our mouths open and wanting more, not only for the result, but for the way of competing and how we played the game. I hope it is the first step of everything that will come. It was a very important victory, and it was a monumental victory. It was a statement to make in Europe. And now reflecting on that match in 2017, this is what he has to say in regards to that. Those moments, as everything happens very quickly, you remember them after a while. Everyone talks about the trophies you won, but it's those games that really stay in the memory. If there was a team capable of doing it, it was us. It was crazy during the day, one of the biggest games in the history of the Champions League, and by far the best comeback, in the Champions League history, able to beat PSG 6-1 after a 4-0 deficit. It was just a monumental night. Neymar, Messi, the entire team just having a huge influence. And Rakitic, following up on what happened, after that 6-1 victory, because we didn't go on to win the Champions League. This is what he has to say in regards. It's not surprising what happened to us afterwards. We felt too superior. We gave away games, and it cost us trophies. Now, years later, we'd all like to put it back, and I'm sure we would have won 2 or 3 more Champions Leagues. The worst one was in Rome because we gave it away without taking away the merits of the rival and congratulating them for the game they played, but we gave it away. When you're not really involved, it can happen to you, and it was our fault. We like to do things differently if we could go back in time without making changes, but being really involved always, because you cannot press the repeat button. Football is the now. I think we did a lot of spectacular things, and I am sorry because I think we were one of the best generations, and we could have gotten a lot more out of it. No, right there, you see some regret from Ivan Rakitic. He believes, that Barcelona, they could have won 2 or 3 more Champions League if they were a little bit more focused. And I completely agree. I think at times, Barcelona, they had like a sense of comfort. They've, they just weren't at it. For example, in that tie against Rome, we had like a 4-1 lead, and we went into the match thinking, oh, we're already into the quarterfinals or the semifinals, and that wasn't the mindset to have. And I'm pretty sure the players, they had that. And just looking at his statement on the record, just saying, hey, we felt too superior. It's just that the team wasn't locked in, the team wasn't focused, and we suffered for that. And it's such a sad thing to look back and just realize, hey, we had the best player in history. We had one of the most best squads in history, one of the best teams in history, and we did not win more Champions Leagues. And that's really upsetting. And what's so upsetting is how we lost them. It's not like, for example, a team just beat us in a fair square. We gave it away. Teams came back on us, the 3-0 at Anfield, Roma. It was absolutely diabolical. But now, guys, I want to be talking about Andres Christensen really quickly, because Andres Christensen, he was absolutely vital, and he got the winner in that PSG tie. And a report from Sport is basically saying that right now, even though Andres Christensen was fit to play, he's not at 100%. And the plan is for right now is for him to rest, to gain some time of recovery. He is not 100%, and he pays for it when he plays many minutes in a short time. But for example, the physical therapists and the medical services, they're doing everything possible to make sure that Andres Christensen is at 100%. And Andres Christensen, he's another report by Sport. It's saying that he's very loved and admired in the dressing room, saying that he's an absolute top-notch professional. And Andres Christensen, he views his future, and he's clear on it, that it remains at Barcelona. And this is interesting because, we've talked many times before saying, hey, could Andres Christensen be a player who can potentially leave in the summer for big money, knowing that he came in on a free. And for example, anything that we do get for Andre Christensen would just be a net positive. And so it's, as like every single other Barcelona player, every one of them wants to stay at Barcelona. Just that's the thing. Where there are going to be departures happening in the summer. Just it's going to be interesting to see who it is, and is Christensen involved in the chopping block. But guys, lastly, for the last topic of the day, I want to be talking about the kits that Barcelona are going to be using in the game against Villarreal, for the women's team, and the kit for El Clasico. And as you guys can see, Carol G is there at the front of the Barcelona jersey, and this is all Barcelona's sponsorship and partnership with Spotify, giving artists and everything a special logo in which it's exposed in Barcelona's El Clasico matches. But I think this is a brilliant marketing move. Having these partnerships with Spotify and with various different artists. Is every single one of these jerseys, since they're like the limited edition and they're only available for El Clasicos, they basically sell out immediately, and it's such a good business move. And hopefully we see more of this in the future. But guys, let me know your thoughts on the jersey. Do you guys like it, or do you guys think that, for example, that little heart in the middle isn't very attractive at all? But guys, that was it for the Barcelona news roundup of the day. Definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on everything that I discussed on today's video. What do you guys think that Xavi should do in regards to that match against Cadiz? Should Barcelona rotate, or should Barcelona go out to finish Cadiz and then rotate in the match for PSG? Knowing that, for example, hey, Barcelona really haven't played that many games in the past couple of days, and so let's still try to go for that Liga. And definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on Rakitic's words, specifically in his statement saying, hey, we could have won 2 or 3 more Champions Leagues. And as well, what do you guys make of Christensen saying that his future is at Barcelona? And lastly, on that Kiro G Barcelona jersey. But guys, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in into every single one of my videos, and catch you guys all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.